Hey everybody, Daniel with Land Sisters. Today we're out in our shop here working. We're gonna get some walls built, some plugs installed with insulation in the walls. We've been trying to get the garage tightened up and a place to for the girls to come out and hang out. So what I'd like to show y'all is how to install some electrical outlets on your homestead. Materials that we're going to be using today, we just went to Home Depot and we got some rolls, some batt of R13. That's going to be our insulation, and then for our electrical, I think I messed up and I didn't get any single boxes. All I have is one, but we have some double boxes and some single little nail-on boxes, and then we have some number 12 wire. It's 12-2, which is going to consist of a black, a white, and a bare wire. That's what you're going to use for your plugs and switches and lights. The number 12 is going to be good for 20 amps. You can get you can get 15 gauge. You can get number 12. It's good for 20 amps, or you can get 14 gauge, which is 15 amps. And you got my farm dog here right in the middle of everything. So anyway, we're going to get started on the electrical. I'm going to start by figuring out where I want to set my boxes. I've kind of picked my heights, as you can see. I've picked my heights based on how my workbench is. I got one high for the workbench and down low for different tools or anything you might need. So I'm going to start nailing them on. I've got them measured out. Got all our boxes nailed on. Now we're going to start pulling some wire. But before we pull wire, we want to kind of think about how we want to run it and where we want to run it. Do we want to run it straight through the studs, or do we want to run it up into the ceiling? I prefer to run it up into the ceiling just to kind of get it out of the way and just a few less holes to drill. So I'll start out by drilling some holes in the top plates. We'll run the wire to the individual boxes. And when you run the wire, you just kind of think of each box, you're just tying those together. So it's just going to be ultimately one continuous wire with the plugs in the middle of them. So basically, wire just needs to go to each box in a chain. We've got our wire all run. Now it's time to get it put in the boxes, get it tied together, get it ready to install the plugs. So what we'll do is, there's little tabs, pretty self-explanatory on the boxes, but you can just push those through with your fingers, grab them with a pliers or a screwdriver and bend them forward. You do that and that's where you run your wire. So we'll do that. We have all the wire into the boxes. We're going to start making up the terminations for the plugs. And what I like to do is I like to start, especially on ones that have two plugs, is I like to start with just some plain wire. And you take your wire coming out all 6-8 inches out and cut the wire. Then you take your knife, and I like to make a little slit at the end. Makes it pretty easy to pull back. and you've got your wire ready to go. So the pieces that you cut, now you're going to have 2 plugs. So I like to have 2 sets of wires, but these wires need to be tied together. So I take and make some more, and you've got your wire ready to go. So the pieces that you cut, now you're going to have 2 plugs. So I like to have 2 sets of wires, but these wires need to be tied together. So I take and make some more, and it'll make sense as it comes along. Strip them all back a little bit. Now we'll just get the rest of these done and we'll put the plugs in. All right, so we got all our wires tied together in all of our boxes. Now it's time to put in our plugs. So here's a basic plug. We got 2 different kinds. As you can see, well, this is a 20 amp plug. This is a 15 amp plug. This is going to be a smaller amperage plug. It's unfortunately what I had, so I'm going to put it in. This is the 20 amp, which is, like I said in the beginning, for the 20 amp wire, which you want to use. But in order to tell your plugs apart, the gold is going to be for your black wire, the silver is for your white wire, the green is for the bare wire, and I think it says on here somewhere, yeah, it says white or blanco or hot on the gold. So you can just look at the back if you can read that. When you're old like me, you can see. So we're going to go on to stripping and installing the plugs. Cut my wire a little shorter. Don't need a whole bunch out. I like to strip it all back. And I take my pliers here and I make a little loop. We'll kind of separate them off, and we'll start with the, I like to start with the gold or the copper. Wrap it around, see how it grabs, and then when you tighten the screw, it cinches down on it, so it kind of continues the wrap. I learned a long time ago I'd like to wrap some tape around there just to kind of protect, make sure it doesn't hit. These plastic boxes, it's not as big a problem, but if you have a metal building and you have metal studs, you'd be using a metal clad wire and metal boxes, so those chances of it hitting the side are a little greater. This is just a little added protection to keep it from possibly sparking. So we got those taped. Now we're going to put the plugs in. Just kind of fold everything up. Get your holes lined up, and I think I lost a screw in this one, so. So we got our plugs in, we got the power to them. Our power's temporary because we still got to put a panel in, but when you test it, you just get you a little basic tester, and you see you have 120 volts, meaning all your plugs are working. Or you could just plug something in and check it there. I didn't install the rest of the plugs because we're gonna start on insulation, but I hope this helps with any electrical issues. Hopefully you can do a plug or got something out of this video to help with your homestead. It's pretty basic. Check out our channel. Check out our website, www.landsisters.com. Look for us. I'm going to try and start putting out more videos on this life, homesteading life that we all appreciate and strive for, because it's not easy. We're always having to learn something. All right, thank you.